This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hello, pet lovers. This is Michelle Fern, your host on Best Pets for Pets. Okay, got dogs, got poop. It's just, it's a given. And my guest today, she has come up with this really cool design. It actually looks a little to me like Snoopy, and it holds your poop for you. And it's so easy to use and inexpensive. You're going to love it. So stay tuned. We're going to be right back.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms, and our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, Stitcher, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to welcome Beth Herriman. She is the creator, owner, founder, and all-around wonderful person, creator of the Dooloop. Welcome, Beth.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
I'm so glad to have you here. Okay, so you created this product called the Dooloop that, if we could describe it to people, like I said in my intro, I think it kind of looks like Snoopy to me.
A lot of people have said that. It's actually a dog shape. Yeah, and I've got 2 hound dogs, so that was kind of the impetus for that.
Well, it's a great design. So everyone out there listening, if you want to get an idea of what it looks like, it's basically, like the muzzle of Snoopy, and then it goes down and it holds your poop. So let's go back a little bit. What made you decide to design something like this?
Pure desperation and utter necessity is the reason that this came about. We had adopted, at the time we were just fostering Angie and Bella. And when we were walking them, when I'd be walking them, they'd both be pulling in 2 different directions. And I was trying to both manage their leashes and scoop their poop. And oftentimes they'd poop more than once. And it was like a blooper reel of a rhythmic gymnastics routine. It was super bad. And I found myself basically 1 or 2 hands short on every walk. And I looked all over, and there just weren't any products on the market anywhere that were easy enough to be useful for me.
I've had other poop holding products on the show, but they were more the kind of contraptions that picked it up from your yard. I think I've had more of those where you were, gripping something from the yard and it went into, another container or something like that. And poop bags, not a lot of poop holders. Oh, and you think about it for the pet parent, if you have more than one pet, if you're also holding on to, a phone, umbrella, child, adult, you really need 2 hands for one dog if you have to hold the poop. And nobody likes holding the poop.
No, it's really funny. Well, this is just it. I mean, I did it because at the time the girls were new to us and they had stranger danger. So they were always trying to run away, and they weren't trying to run to anybody because they were new to us. So I invented it because of that for myself. However, right, if a phone rings, or if you're drinking your coffee, your morning coffee as you're out on your walk, I mean, people oftentimes, you all of a sudden you've got poop in your hands and you're drinking your coffee and you realize that the poop is like right next to your face, which is so gross. And inadvertently once, I remember waving poop at a neighbor, and I thought nothing says, "Hi neighbor," like a bag of poop being waved at them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, not good. Definitely not good. So it really does work for a whole bunch of things. And
Right.
you're right. This is the first of its kind. There have been other things on there, but they were always like slits, and they look super simple in design, but when you try and use them, they're not easy to use. And that is the difference with the Dooloop. It's just, as my kids used to say, stupid easy. It takes like 2 seconds. It's no effort to use it. And it actually holds multiple bags. And if you pull the bag through enough, you don't even have to actually knot it, which can be handy if you have some dogs poop a couple times and they do little dainty poops. So I know some people like to, conserve bags. So anyway, they're also useful like that.
What about different kinds of bags? I mean, a lot of people, if they run short of the little doggy poop bags, they'll grab a plastic grocery bag. Does it matter about the size?
No, not really. You just have to. Basically, the little Snoopy head is big enough that if you can get your fingers holding the bag just through it and just pull it down into the channel, it will stay.
And I think unless you are a giant with major big hands, you should have no problem because there's plenty of room and everything.
Exactly. And it's kind of funny. When I was developing it, originally they were really big, and it finally kept getting it smaller and smaller. But there comes a point where if you make it any smaller, then it becomes fiddly again. So it's basically as big as it needs to be and not too small.
Okay, so for everyone listening out there, here's an even better way to look at it. It's kind of, if you think about it, a backwards P. And the top part, would you say that the backwards P? And the top part is like the hole, and the bottom is it's not one solid plastic, it is two. So you put the poop bag through the hole and then just slide it down, done.
And done. Exactly. Slides easily on and off. And there's a little loop at the top that you can use to attach it to your leash. And I recommend a carabiner. Some people have used keychains, anything like that you trust is dependable. And and the rest of it, it's like just a channel design.
All right, we're going to take a short break and we'll come right back and talk more about the Dooloop. We'll be right back.
Here's an alarming statistic. More than 2/3 of dogs and cats have oral health disease by the age of 3, and one of the indicators is bad breath. Do your pets have a healthy mouth? Do you cringe when it's time for a kiss or a snuggle? Let's get to the cause. Harmful bacteria in their mouth. And bad breath is just the start. The bad bacteria cause tartar and oral disease, which can lead to serious overall health problems. It's critical to make sure your pet's oral health is the best it can be, as good dental health is key to optimizing their overall health. Now, good news. It's easy and affordable to improve their oral health with Probiora Pet. Just 1 scoop of this dental care probiotic mixed into their food daily floods the mouth with positive bacteria, which crowds out the bad. This means better oral health and fresher breath. Probiora Pet is an all-natural dental care probiotic. It's odor and taste-free, so your pets will still enjoy their chow. We want to keep your pets healthy. During National Pet Oral Health Month, our listeners can save 10%. Go to probiorapet.com and use PLR10 at checkout. That's probiorapet.com. Use PLR10 at checkout to save 10%.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking to Beth Herriman, the creator, owner of the Dooloop. So, Beth, do you think somebody that has the Dooloop is more likely to pick up poop? Because ultimately, I think I'm guessing the goal behind your product, but the goal behind a lot of, poop related items to make it easier for people is so they pick up, and especially your product, because a lot of people pick up, but then they're like, ew, I don't want to hold it. And it's not just, maybe you would think that would be maybe young kids. No, there's adult men and, women and all ages. Nobody likes holding this stuff in their hand. And sometimes you have to hold it for a while.
Oh, absolutely. No, I think the real benefits of this there are a ton of benefits. It's easy to use, so it gets the poop out of your hand. Environmentally, it's really important that people pick up after themselves. I didn't realize until getting into the biz that dog poop gets into water tables, so I think people think of it as organic, but it's really full of bad bacteria and parasites that, water table degradation and wildlife, of course. And then there are so many people. Dear Abby had an article, I think last week, of people putting their poop bags in neighbors' garbage. And is that okay? I think one of the benefits of this is it makes it easy for you, but your neighbors will love you because with a Dooloop, it's so easy to just whack it onto the Dooloop and you basically forget it until you get home. You're not putting your stuff, looking for a trash can and sort of wasting your Zen time on your walk, and you're not putting it in other people's trash cans. And I think everybody's personal favorites are those people who are like, I'm just going to put it here and I'll get it on my way back. And, and I hardly ever forget.
Right. That never happens.
That never happens, except for when it does. Exactly. No, it's not awesome.
And it's funny you mentioned the garbage can thing, because I've done it, I will admit, and this was when I lived in another state. Somebody came running after me. What'd you put in? They acted like I put, I don't know, maybe some toxic, well, it is kind of toxic, but maybe, I don't know, like poured bleach, and it was a little bag. But after that, I thought, okay, I'm not doing that again. It was just scary. It was scary how nutso this person became. And it is a garbage pail, but one, it's not your garbage pail, so I shouldn't have done it anyway. And two, they're entitled to not smelling poop in their garbage either,
Yeah, it's so funny because I guess I've had a Dooloop now with the ladies. Now, poor Angie, rest in peace. But for so long, like the notion of that is just not a thing. But yeah, for dear Abby to come in on the dog poop conversation is kind of funny.
And what did she say? Hold it?
Yeah, like don't do that.
It is technically you're infringing on, even though a lot of garbage cans are city run and city owned, but still a lot of people pay for garbage pickup. And so it is still not your property to put anything in. And it's not worth getting your neighbor upset. Everybody has their thing. So why upset your neighbor? Make this easier. I also think that there's a lot of truth in the fact that if somebody doesn't have to hold it, they're more likely to pick it up, because nobody likes holding poop.
No. And I kind of joke on my little poop bags, it says, this is not a Louis Vuitton bag. And I thought, a bag of poop has never elevated anybody's experience walking or their outfit. It doesn't finish the look.
Right, exactly.
You can be Anna Wintour or a master, another master of the universe. If you're walking around holding a bag of poop, it's just kind of like, ew, just not great.
Right.
But important to do.
For sure.
After your pets. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's so funny because I've heard, again, people tell me all of their poop stories and sort of fancy people. And I've heard from a couple lawyers, which I thought was hysterical, of them taking the bag of poop and sticking it in their pockets and then forgetting it and showing up at nice events and thinking like, who smells? And realizing that they forgot their dog's poop in their pocket when they just taken him out right before they left home.
Oh my gosh. That's the only thing I've ever heard is there was a neighbor when I was living in Los Angeles, and she was walking her little child and her dog, and she, took the poop and then she put it in the bottom part of the stroller where you can carry things. And, young mothers, young child, that's enough to make your mind forget things. And she forgot about the poop for an entire day. And she was just, what's that stink? Her husband came home. What's that stink? They didn't know what the stink was until they finally noticed there's been poop sitting here for a day. So
it's not good. It's so funny because once people have been finding Dooloops, a lot of people are gifting them to other friends. I was always joking, it's like friends just don't let friends carry poop. I mean, like you always did because you had to, but now you just don't. It's actually just easier not to. And it's one of those things too. It's like once you've used one a couple of times, if you grab a different leash or you know what I mean, or whatever, and you're out walking and all of a sudden you're holding poop again, it just feels like this huge downgrade of your experience.
I can imagine. And And especially the fact that we're usually holding other things, or we might have to answer our phone. You're holding poop, you're holding the thing. Might have to answer we're all attached to our phones these days. Or I also think it's a better way to keep track of your dog, because some dogs pull, they're very strong, and if maybe you're holding the poop and the leash at the same time, that's not the best way to hold your dog, because it's just not. And then you have your phone. You're not being a good pet parent because you don't have your dog under total control, because you're not holding the leash well. So there's other things that come into play that I think you wouldn't realize at first, but you might think, now I could really have control of my dog, and he pulls, and he's, 120 pounds, and I have to make sure that I hold on to my pooch. What about even in cities, we know pickup, that's that. What about rural areas where people might say, yeah, so what? Let it sit on the road, nobody will come by.
Oh, like I said, reading stuff, getting into well water, I had no idea it was the problem. And I don't have the statistics at my fingertips, but they've done studies about the bacteria getting into watersheds and in people's wells and all of that stuff. So I think, especially if people are out, say, hiking, you can put a Dooloop. It doesn't have to be on a leash. I mean, you can hook one onto your coat. You can hook one onto your backpack. It's just basically something that's not, you could put it on your stroller. It's something that just holds it outside of the other things that you're using. That's a beautiful way of putting it. But anyway, it doesn't have to be on a leash. It can be on a lot of different things. It just holds bags of poop so you don't have to think about them until you're at the right place to throw them away. For people who live in suburbs and out in the rural, and they're taking care of their, dog's poop like they should, they're going to have to carry it for a lot longer than a lot of city people where there are more trash cans readily available.
You talked about this a little bit in the beginning. What about for large dogs? Like, what if you have an Irish Wolfhound or some kind of large dog that makes, large dog, usually larger poops? Is there a limit? I mean, we're not talking horse here, but is there a limit? Will it hold even a larger bag without it sliding?
Oh my gosh, it holds a lot of, I don't know if we're allowed to say this. It holds a lot.
So that's good.
Yeah, no, I reconned the whole backyard once to see. And what's really good is recently, in the last couple of months, I've changed the materials that I've been using. I originally started out with a biodegradable plastic because I really wanted to be as eco-friendly as possible. Unfortunately, the manufacturer told me that the lifespan of it was longer than it is. So now the new plastic that I'm using, I'm super excited about, is formally FDA approved medical grade. So it's non-toxic, BPA free, but it's recycled. So it's recycled and it's recyclable again and again. And it's very durable.
That's great news that it holds a lot, and also great news that it's eco-friendly, because I think there's a great overlap in how many people are pet parents that also are very concerned about, the environment and, how to keep it safer. Also, you have, I think it's entirely made in the US.
Absolutely. That's one of the great things too, is I'm making them here. Everybody said, you should export. I was like, So we're making them here in Maine. The Dooloops are made in Maine. The tags are printed up also in Maine by a printer that uses wind power. They're wind power certified. And the Dooloops and the tags are all hand assembled. So we don't have any single-use plastic in the packaging. We're trying to keep it basically as eco-friendly, both in its purpose, but also in how it's manufactured as possible. And we've kept it, and it's under $10.
That's wonderful. And it's also women owned.
Yes. And yes, exactly. It's women owned, eco-friendly, and the colors are really cute. There are all of the colors. I have 7 colors now. I start out with 5, but now we've got 7. And they were all chosen to coordinate. There's a color that will coordinate with any leash or coat. A lot of our dogs are very fancy that you have.
That's wonderful. Now, the big thing is, where can people buy it?
People can buy them all kinds of different places. First, they can buy them on the website, thedooloop.com. And on thedooloop.com, there's a list of a lot of stores around the country that have them, the independent stores. They can also be found at rover.com and Orvis. They're just getting into the Loyal Companion, Chuck and Don's, Kreisers, and a lot of other independent pet stores, which is great. Yeah, or on the Grommet. So they're all different places people can find them. And what's fun is like they're catching on because it's a new classification in the pet space, but they were featured in Real Simple, which was really cool, and people.com. And they even just recently got a Tree Hugger Award for the Breast of Green Awards, which we're very excited about.
That's fabulous. And I wonder, Global Pet Expo, which is huge.
Yes, I'm definitely going there. Yes, I'm planning on going there. I went there once before. Actually, I've been there twice before. I went once as a visitor, and I just kind of walked the show when I was first starting out because I didn't know if this was a thing or not because I was new to the pet space. And then I went there as an exhibitor, and I was right next to Cesar Millan.
Oh, wow.
Serendipitously. And it was so much fun. Those shows are so much fun.
Yes, it did go in 2020, 2021 this year. No, it was virtual. We've gone for the last, I think, 10, 12 years. So yeah, you see all kinds of things, and it's a great way to get your product out in front of everyone. So Beth, is there anything new and exciting coming out with the Dooloop? Or, you have a great design, you have a lot of colors, and that's okay.
Yeah, well, actually, we're working on Dooloop, the next generation. Still haven't fully named it or anything, but it's in process. And the goal is to introduce it at the end of March. So we will see. But anyway, it's in the pipeline.
Well, I can't wait. So everybody go to thedooloop.com. There will also be information on the episode page for this show on petliferadio.com. I'd like to thank my guest, Beth Herriman, for coming on Best Bets for Pets and for creating such a great product that we really need. Beth, thank you so much for coming on Best Bets for Pets.
Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful.
I hope everybody loved this show. I hope you always love this show. Any comments, questions, whatever, Michelle at petliferadio.com. I want to thank my guest, Beth Herriman, for coming on Best Bets for Pets and telling us all about the Dooloop. And thanks to Nikki. He was my tester on the Dooloop. And, he sometimes goes 4 times in a row, and that Dooloop holds it well. And special thank you to my producer for making me and my guests sound amazing. Now, keep listening because you never know what we're going to have coming up on Best Bets for Pets.
Let's Talk Pets every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.